If you've ever been fired, flopped, or felt like podcasting is just one big learning curve, you are in exactly the right room. Today's guest is no stranger to bouncing back, born and raised in the witchy wonderland of Salem, Massachusetts, as am I. Twinsy born in Salem.
Same year.
You too, Jen? Oh my gosh. Ben Currier is the self-proclaimed world's #1 failure, and he's turned that title into a superpower. Ben is the host of the Failure Guy podcast, a 4-time Microsoft Excel MVP, yes, that's a thing, and a corporate survivor with more layoff stories than most of us have mic checks. Ben's motto, fail it till you nail it, and his mission, to help you laugh at the low points, learn from the missteps, and stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Please give a warm NEPG welcome to the one and only our very own Ben Currier.
Thank you very much. So everyone might be wondering, what the hell is this? Why would you go to the world's #1 failure as a thing to do? So just to give you a little bit of background on that, I was doing a lot of networking back when I lived in Colorado, back in the day, Denver area, and I teach Microsoft Excel online, which is why I won that MVP award, and it is excruciatingly boring. So if you're somebody who is more of an extrovert, picking a job like accounting and doing spreadsheets for your life and not really talking to anybody, but living through numbers in a spreadsheet just isn't really the way to do it. So I was doing a lot of in-person networking. I like being the guy who's got like a trench coat, and I've got, instead of watches or whatever you'd have in New York, I'd have like business cards with different fictional businesses that I did because I'm a weirdo. So I thought, it takes a lot of time and energy to create a business, but I was like, I'll just create fictional ones, and then if I find a need, I can serve them in that way. I don't know. So I probably had like literally so it's like, oh, you need a life guru or whatever. Here's my whatever. So through that, I probably had at least 15 to 20 different businesses. A lot of times I'd have a website and stuff because I'm a weirdo who likes to buy domains. I probably had 100 domains at once that I owned.
270.
I come up with a stupid name, and then I just was like, oh, $11 for a year. I'll just park that idea. So I started toying with the idea of being the #1 failure, because everyone, like if you want to be the world's #1 accountant, for example, you're kind of screwed. You're not going to get there. But I realized when you Google this term, nothing really came up besides like famous failures and whatnot. So if you Google this exact term now, you'll see I'm at the top, and AI will even tell you that I'm the biggest failure. So that was my goal. Thank you. You can hit the next slide if you want there, Ryan. That was my goal when I started the podcast, was to grab that SEO spot, just because it was something that for me is a weird goal that was funny to me. So, but I do have an MBA. I went to Bentley. Somebody mentioned being at Waltham recently at Bentley. And I did 15 plus years in corporate America, and 4-time most valuable professional, which is probably the dumbest, like least sexy MVP you could be. But if you go to the next slide, Ryan, I was fired from every job I've had since graduating college, which is now 7 for 7. It was 5 when I started the podcast. So twice I've been fired since the start of the podcast. Thank you very much. I love it. There you go. Yeah. And so exactly. So I realized that, I could keep going back and trying that again and again. And I have, I think when I started the podcast, I was kind of in the screw corporate America land, and I'm still there firmly, but every so often I'm like, hey, maybe we can go to a dance or something. And they're like, get out of here. And so since they keep telling me no, I eventually was like, all right, I guess I got to do my own thing. And so I've been teaching Microsoft Excel for like 12 years or something like that, because I like teaching people. And I thought, well, since I can't get it to work, I'll get really good at Excel and I'll teach everybody else how to use that. You go do the thing. I can't do the thing. So if you want to go to the next one. But I realized from getting fired in all these jobs, what was one of the things that was hindering me? And I think everyone has heard fake it till you make it, of course. I think you should get rid of it entirely, because it's like imposter syndrome, but dressed up with like extra bells and whistles to make you feel like it's not imposter syndrome. But if you're faking it all the time, it's hard to have a lot of self-confidence in that. So I'd say don't fake it till you make it. As we said earlier, fail it till you nail it, I think, is the better mantra, because you're probably not going to succeed initially. And I think with podcasting, we know that's a very common thing. You think, oh, I'm going to release some episodes and everyone's going to love it. And then if you want to go to the next slide, who knows what the next slide's going to be. Okay, there we go. So I did this talk once at PodFest 2 years ago. So for me, when I do something, I'm like, oh, everyone must have heard it because I did it one time or whatever. But really, nobody heard it except for maybe Kerry was there, and Vinny was there. I don't think he's there today, but he was there at Podfest. So I started out with this. This is before I even had a podcast. I was like, I need to embrace failure. I was reading books. I'm like a self-help guru in terms of I can read a million of them, but I can't apply any of the knowledge to my life. So I was like, well, they say you got to embrace failure and get used to it in order to grow. And so I was like, I'll just put it on my literal license plate. So I went to the DMV, got failure on my license plate, and then for a long time driving around, I'd be like, oh my God, what do these people think of me? They're probably like thinking I'm an idiot or whatever. So, that's the self-doubt type of thing. After a year of having this on, I'm like drumming on my steering wheel. I don't care what people think, because who cares at this point? I've worried about it a million times and literally nothing's happened from it. So so I put a bumper sticker on my car to accentuate, if you want to go to the next slide. I did honk if you're a big failure, because I thought I'll be getting all sorts of crazy honks because I'm an idiot, and I thought this was appealing. But really, this was an amazing honk deterrent. So if everyone's annoyed, if you don't want to get honked at, this is pretty good. I know. So I probably got maybe 5 honks that weren't related. I don't know if they're related to this, but if you want to go to the next slide, I just thought it was interesting to see how much people have a resistance to it. And I was talking to Kerry on the way over here. People tell her all the time, like, oh, is he still doing that failure guy thing or whatever? And people will tell me all the time how bad of an idea it is and how stupid it is and how I'm negatively manifesting whatever. That's fine. I ended up totaling that car. And so it could be something to it. I'm not saying it's wrong. But I will say that it's brought me to things that I wouldn't have done anyways. And so I think one of the problems that Andy alluded to earlier is we all have the highlight reels that we put out there for social media. And everyone else is doing that. And when we consume a lot of that, we think everyone else's lives are at least much better than ours, even if they're not perfect. And so I think there's a lack of people, especially once they get to be successful anyway, they don't talk about the difficult times as much because they want to seem like they knew it all along. And a lot of times they'll just basically brag and forget that they had any difficulties, or that, perhaps they won't own them as much as they should. And I think a lot of people try to like Men in Black themselves and erase the memory of the bad things. But I think that's something you should be embracing because you already paid the cost. You did the failure thing. You might as well not resist learning from it because that's really what you're supposed to get from it. So I think it's easy to compare ourselves. And so this is podcast not cover. What was it? Stock photo art, I guess is what I want to call it. So this is my first cover art for the podcast. I don't use it anymore, but this got me. I was like, oh, I really want to recreate this with me doing it. So I went to the Grand Canyon. And I didn't have anyone to take a picture, so thankfully someone was there in the morning. And I got there like 1 a.m. and I didn't realize it's going to be completely dark. So I couldn't see. I was at the Grand Canyon. I'm like, I can't see literally anything. I know there's a big hole there, but I don't know what's going on. So I freaked out because I thought there was animals all around me. Because there was like a dumpster and there was like plastic rip. So I literally dove into my car because I thought there was like animals all around me. And I didn't look up. I was like I was doing a cross-country road trip, and it was like, I saw a sign that said like Grand Canyon 100 miles that way. And I'm like, okay, I have to do it because who knows when I'll be here again. But this is at 1 a.m. or whatever. So I decided I had already had a weird setup in my car for podcasting on the road. I had put a poster on my car that said, call this number if you want to be on a podcast. And I had a literal podcasting mic set up. No one called me. So that was a total waste of time. But when I got to the Grand Canyon, I was able to record. I did 4 hours straight of solo podcasting. I never released it. But it was like therapy with the mic. Point was, I wasted time till I got there in the morning. Someone happened to be checking it out because it's a pretty popular spot. I didn't look up anything, so I didn't want to spoil it for myself. So it was amazing to see. If we go to the next slide, who knows when it'll happen. But at some point, I'll show the new version of it. But on that road trip, here's me. If anyone knows who Steve D. Sims is, Forbes magazine called him the real-life Wizard of Oz. He knows Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Andrea Bocelli. If you go look at that article, it's insane. But here's me on motel Wi-Fi, mooching off in my packed Prius. Who knows where in the trip along the way. But no one saw this because I just released it as audio. But it was either like give up this opportunity to interview him or just make it work. So a lot of times, like some of the things that I thought there's no way it's going to work, it ended up being a great conversation that I love to this day. But you can see how poor the quality is. I'm not even using a microphone, as you can tell, maybe. I'm talking like into my computer and, interviewing him. If you go to the next screen, I imagine it's going to be not what I thought it would be. But so some of these things I know it'll come back to be there. But so has anyone here started podcasting and go, wow, that's amazing how few downloads I'm getting these days? Anybody?
Yes.
So if you go to the next one, I was like, this is going to be amazing. People are going to love me. So this is 1 year into it. I'm still getting one download a day. I'm like, first of all, is that me downloading? It could be. But so that's a full year, September to September. And I was getting like no traction at all. But I think the problem is that most people, it's only a problem if you have a good podcast. If you have a bad one, quit whenever you want. But if not, this 1 year is a time where most people quit because they're like, well, what the hell? No one's listening. It's a struggle to even get yourself to record an episode. Like Meg was saying earlier, we have a new podcast that we've only done 2 of, but I don't care. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for anything but forward progress towards the goal. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see after that year, though, I'm getting 200 download days, I don't know, 1,800 downloads. Who knows if these are real numbers because it's hard to tell with these days with podcasting. But the point is that felt better than it did the first year. And I'd say part of it is just sticking with it and finding out what works. I mean, we were talking earlier about how if you interview celebrities, sometimes it doesn't help because they don't promote it or anything like that. And like you might feel like, oh, this is amazing content, but no one's looking at it until you put in the time and effort to show people you're going to be consistent and all that stuff. So if we go to the next one, who knows what it'll be? Oh, there we go. So there's me.
Yay!
Now, I didn't even use this as my new cover because I was like done with that mentally in my mind, but it was like an accomplishment to have done it. And then I started using my license plate picture that you saw earlier because I think it just says a little bit more. But I can do almost anything for no reason, for no good reason. For reasons, it takes a lot longer. So like, for example, I have like a weird, we'll call it resistance with money. Carrie knows this, but I don't try to do things to make money, which makes me less money than I'd like. But the point is, I'd rather do things for fun. Like I do stand-up comedy, which is not a lucrative venture, at least yet. So I think I do things more for fun. So I got to figure out how to marry money and fun in order to get there. Because I know I could go back to corporate America maybe if they want me, but I don't want to live that life. So we'll see. If you go to the next one, I think you will see a better. Yeah. So look at it's not a perfect, but since that motel picture, I have like a pod mic. I've got my thing in the corner. Better video, but if I didn't mess up and fail it till I nail it kind of thing, I wouldn't have got there. This is Natasha Graziano, one of Forbes' top 40 under who knows what's. And she's got like 27 million followers on Instagram. She didn't promote it at all. So what happened? Jack shit, nothing. But I got a good time. I got a good experience. I like podcasting because it'll give you like an hour with somebody who you might never talk to and get like a free hour of coaching at the worst. So I've probably got 40 to 50 episodes that I recorded that I never released because I'm a nut job. So next.
And a weirdo.
So we all know Vinny Potasivo. Yes. Carol Baskin from Tiger King I had on the podcast. Wow. Natasha Graziano, Bob Berg, and the other author of The Go-Giver, if you've ever read that book. I got to 93 episodes. I haven't released an episode in 2 years because my hosting company died. It went away. I had the ability to transition it. I didn't. So now it's only available on Spotify. And I got to take it, all 93 episodes, and move them somewhere else and convince everyone that I own it. Well, yeah. So I've got 20 uploaded to a thing, but it's just a pain in the ass. So
also, he does an archive on Buzzsprout. It's only $5. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't mind. There's a million ways to solve my problems. I'm not going to do them necessarily, but I do know that, so like when I wrote this was 78, I'm at 93. The last one was me interviewing myself as my comedian alter ego because whatever. It's my thing. I can do whatever I want. But the point is, make sure so what I learned from that, make sure your hosting company is reliable, not going to go anywhere. And if they do go somewhere, make sure you transition it over somewhere else. So I don't have access to my RSS. That's a failure, of course, but I don't care that much. More people would be upset about it, but I'll figure it out. And, either way, I guess my point is, so like I built this big thing. To me, it's a big thing. It was in the top, 1,000 podcasts type of thing back when Chartable was around. But that's not the point. The point is to get better at whatever the things I'm trying to get better at. So a lot of the podcasting was getting better at mumbling, interrupting people, etc. All the weird things that make you worse to talk to. And I would edit it myself. So I'd be like, it could take so much less time if I wasn't getting in my own way. So that's what I mainly learned from it. If you go to the next slide, I think, here. So if anybody's not on IMDb, get your podcast on IMDb. You can do it for free today if you'd like. And you can also offer it to guests. You can make them exist on IMDb if they don't, but if so, you could tie them to your thing. So if you go to Carol Baskin on IMDb and you look at her self-filmography, you'll see my dumbass with my license plate there because I use IMDb and I tell literally everybody, I'm not going to say get out your phone now, you can, but the point is you should write a note, go on IMDb, figure out how to do it. If you can't figure it out, you can reach out to me. I used to have a PDF explaining how to do it. I can send that to you. But yes, I do charge money for people to do it, but I've never yet done it because I don't tell people, which is Carrie's point. But the reason why if you Google world's number one failure and you see me at the top is because on IMDb, under my tagline, I put that. And IMDb has like a 95-page authority or whatever on Google. So if something's on IMDb, they're going to say this is trustworthy info. So anything you want to put, you can put links to your guest's site or whatever on that episode. There's a million things you can do, trivia, quotes, whatever. And all that stuff will show up in Google. So I'd say do it. And if you don't, I'd say don't not do it. Just do it. Or hire me. But who knows? Next thingy is going to be, how comfortable is everyone here with failure? We got one or two or three. Okay, perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's same boat. So if you go to the next slide, I'd encourage everyone to think about this question. I used to give this out to every one of my guests. You can see me, kind of me. And this is a get out of fail free card. So like the Monopoly get out of jail free card. This is I used to have physical ones that I'd give you, but I gave them all away. What would you do if you couldn't fail? So if there's something, I would always say on my podcast that I would do stand-up comedy, because that's like the number one thing where you're judged every 20 seconds as to whether you're failing or not. And it's probably the hardest form of public speaking, I'd say. So I would always say in almost every one of my episodes when I asked the guests, I'd say that my answer was stand-up comedy. And since this card doesn't exist and there's no such thing as getting out of fail free, I eventually was like, well, I've told myself enough times I'm just going to get up and do it. So it probably took me about 3 years from saying I was going to do stand-up to doing it. But I wouldn't have done it if I didn't say that. So I'm going to say, if you think about this and consider what would you do if, like, would you be an astronaut or a movie star or whatever it is, and then just do some little things in that world that'll get you closer to that and see what happens, because it can't hurt and it'll make you learn more about yourself. So if you go to the next one, it could be, there we go. So instead of fake it till you make it, I'd say fail it till you nail it. If I gave this speech more than once, I probably would know what I'm talking about. But I just think I'm going to potentially write a self-help book at some point with this title, but and I've already got most of it written. But I like to do a trillion things and finish none of them. So, we'll see how that goes. But I'd say try to embrace the idea of failure is not an end or a thing that you wear as you are a failure, but just a necessary stepping stone to where you got to be. And as long as you're learning, even if you're not, I'm cool with it. But as long as you're learning, I'd say it's a pretty good way to live. And if we go to the next one, it could be the last one. It's possible. No idea if this goes anywhere. You're welcome to try. I should. I mean, I didn't stop it. And yeah, feel free to say hello. Come talk to me afterwards. But I would just encourage you to not look at failure as a bad thing, but also, does it go anywhere?
Yeah, it goes.
Aha. Perfect. And then there's links to other stuff, probably?
Yeah.
Cool. So it works. See? I don't know what that proves, but anyways, exactly. Sometimes it works is what it proves. And so feel free to talk to me afterwards. I'll eventually maybe have the podcast going or not. And I just encourage everybody to not look at it as something that's going to be a nice, quick dopamine hit, but it's more of a long haul that's going to take a while, and you'll eventually get there or not. And, enjoy it.